Well, hello Indie people, how you guys doing? I hope you are doing well, and today I'm here to bring you the similarities between autism and ADHD. Now this video is a collaboration with my good friend Hailey from Hailey's Comment. Personally for me, I've known her since her first ever video, and to see how much has grown over the last year, it's been really great. So I'm really glad I'm going to be doing this video with her, talking about the similarities between autism and ADHD, because I'm autistic and she has ADHD, and for me personally it is quite interesting when you look at symptoms and traits of both conditions, how much crossover there is. And I wanted to talk to someone who has ADHD in a video just to talk about the similarities and the differences. So me and Hailey went on a call the other day, and this is basically us talking about the similarities between autism and ADHD. I hope you enjoy. So as you can see, I'm not stood up anymore, I'm actually sat down because I'm joined by Hailey from Hailey's Comment. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
It's no trouble. Do you want to tell everyone what your channel's about, what your life story is? Just who is Hailey's Comment?
Yes, so my name's Hailey, obviously. I have a series on my channel called Coffee Talk, where every Tuesday I post a mental health related video. So I mostly talk about ADHD, but also my depression and anxiety. And then on Thursdays, I just kind of do whatever the heck I want. I do like trends or story times, mukbangs, like that kind of stuff. My life story might take a little longer to explain, so I think we'll skip that.
Well, it's an idea for another day, I think. So like I said at the beginning, we've got a list of similarities between autism and ADHD, and the first one we're going to talk about is stimming. So basically, if you don't know what stimming is, it's basically a shortened term for self-stimulatory behaviour or self-stimulation. It's basically just a bunch or some repetitive physical movements or making sounds really to calm an autistic person down, you know, block sensory experiences that are not pleasing in any way, shape or form. Stimming is one of those things that can be seen as a little bit taboo and a little bit weird if you just don't know anything about it, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this video with you, just to kind of open up the conversation really. So stimming from an ADHD point of view, I offer the floor to you.
Yeah, so I actually didn't used to know what stimming was before your channel and talking to you and learning a little bit more about it, but I have always done stimming and I didn't really know what I was doing. But yeah, after we talked, because we were like we were thinking that it sounds like something that some ADHD people do, probably more like intense ADHD, like on that side of the spectrum, but I wasn't like totally for sure, and so I actually did a little bit of research, and yeah, so first off, fidgeting is considered stimming, and pretty much everyone with ADHD fidgets. Also just other random stuff, so like hand flapping is definitely something that I do, and so I just like, I go like this. But yeah, I don't know, it's real weird, but I don't like, I do it in front of people, or like I try not to.
Well, the thing is, with stimming actually, it's something that's kind of subconscious. Like sometimes you don't even realise you're actually doing it either. Also the thing with stimming as well, like just to kind of round this point off, is that everyone stims, not just people with autism or their ADHD. It's literally like any kind of movement that you find soothing or relaxes you, or you just do it without even realizing. I think the thing with autism and ADHD is it's just amplified like times 10, so really it becomes a little bit more obvious, and also we tend to do it a little bit more often than a neurotypical person would.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like this is something that's a lot more common in the autism world, so I don't want to kind of get that confused, like not everyone with ADHD does this, or I'm sure not everyone with autism does this either though.
Yeah.
Also, on what you said about like you don't realize you're doing it, like that is true. Like generally speaking, like if I catch myself doing it, like I'll stop, you know what I mean? But like the other day I was walking and like I saw a reflection of me and like I was doing that and I was like, what am I doing? Like stop. Wait, so what do you do when you're stimming? You're just gonna make me look crazy and not share your experience.
Okay, so for me, I tend to foot tap quite a lot, like rock backwards and forwards without even realizing I'm doing it. Like I'll be sat down, like I'll sit down on the floor. That's a conversation for another time. But like I'll be cross-legged on the floor and like both my legs are moving like up and down. I don't even realize I'm doing it. Like I'll just like do like a random hand movement like that. So executive functioning is one of those things in the autism world that does get discussed, but it's not something that I've ever talked about on the channel before. Just to give you a brief example of what it is, it's basically where you have like a broad set of skills that relate to cognitive function. The front part of the brain is all to do with like regulation, control, and the management of thoughts or whatever. So it really impacts planning, working memory, attention, problem solving, those kinds of things. And it's kind of interesting when me and Hailey were talking about doing this, that we kind of had similarities in this area.
Yeah, everything you just said is completely true for people with ADHD, so it sounds like pretty much the exact same thing, like ditto. But yeah, so like from what I know about ADHD, we use like the wrong parts of our brain for different tasks. So like a normal person, not normal, not that that was a terrible way to word that, but like a neurotypical person, if you're asking them to solve a problem, they would switch to their prefrontal cortex, where we're still in, I forget what it's called, but whatever part of your brain that is for like daydreaming. So we'll like stay in that part, or we'll be in both parts at the same time. Whereas like a neurotypical would just switch to one, to the correct part of your brain. So I think that's why it's so hard for us to switch tasks and like get ourselves to be motivated and do things, because, and also a lack of dopamine. But yeah, we have the exact same struggles as you.
But no, for me, when it comes to executive functioning, it's a thing of understanding what kind of takes priority, what needs your immediate attention, what problem needs solving, or if there's a problem to be solved. So masking is one of those things in the autism world anyway that is not really talked about that much. Like I've talked about it on the channel before, where it's the act of hiding those telltale signs that someone's on the spectrum, and it's quite interesting when we were talking that you kind of do a similar sort of thing.
I was watching back some of our footage, and whenever you were talking, I was like constantly nodding my head. And that's like definitely a masking behavior for me, because if I keep nodding, not that I wasn't listening to you, but like if I drift off, then people think that I'm still listening. And a lot of people take it as being rude. Like if I am not paying attention to them, people think that I'm just being rude and I don't care about whatever they're saying or whatever. But that's just how my mind works. Like I just can't pay attention for too long. I start to like worry in the conversation, like I start to drift off, and then I'm sitting there thinking, oh gosh, I'm drifting off, I gotta focus. But then I'm like, wait, I don't know what they're talking about anymore. And so then I'm like worried the whole time, like they're gonna know that I'm not paying attention to them. And then the whole time I'm just like worried instead of listening to whatever the heck they're saying. It's a struggle.
I guess it's just one of those things where you present in a way that you would expect other people to present, and like try to appear like you are engaged in conversation, and like you're kind of active in that conversation, where your mind might start to wander elsewhere. It's kind of like you mask to survive, like you adapt to a situation in order to like fit in and be like like you don't feel like an odd one out, as it were.
I totally agree. And something I think we talked about a little too is like copying behaviors. So definitely in a conversation, if I've lost track of what's happening, I'll kind of look at other people and see what they're doing and try to like mimic them. Like if everybody's laughing or smiling or something, and then I'll just like do that too, because it's like, I don't know what's going on in the conversation, but let me just like pretend like I do. Do you think that you copy too?
Actually, yeah, I feel like I do. Like I kind of like pick up on the way people talk and stuff, because I feel like if I'm doing what they are doing, then that's kind of like the need of fitting in, I guess. Like I feel like I need to fit in by copying what they're doing, but sometimes it's not noticeable, or I don't notice I'm doing it.
And I think a good thing to mention is like I am not ashamed of my ADHD. Like I absolutely love my ADHD. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of disadvantages, let me tell you, but there's a lot of advantages too. But so I'm not like ashamed of it. I'm not masking it for that reason, but it's not like I don't want to be the odd one out in every situation. I don't want it to be super obvious when I'm talking to anybody, people that I don't know very well. Like I don't like want that to be an issue in our conversation or just like to stick out, or I also don't want to offend anybody because again people think that I'm being rude.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me as well. Like, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of being autistic at all. It's just sometimes it's kind of needed in order to do the things that we want to do, I guess. Schools can be difficult. If you are someone who's autistic or has ADHD, the way that schools are run, the way that classes can be, the way that the school society is, like the way the school is, the way the people are, one of those things I've found difficult. What did you find difficult?
Well, everything is challenging in terms of school. Well, first and foremost, the way that we're taught is completely catered toward neurotypicals, and if you are not someone who has a brain structured that way, it's nearly impossible to do well without pretty much learning everything on your own. And I want to make a video about this on my channel at some point, but accommodations are not enough, because accommodations, like you'll get extra time on a test or something, and people have literally told me like, oh, you're so lucky you get extra time on tests. I'm like, that doesn't change anything. Like I still have ADHD, so when I'm learning that information or when I'm supposed to be, I'm not present because it's taught in a way that I can't pay attention to. So I don't learn the material to begin with, and then testing is not something that people with ADHD do well, generally speaking, just because you need a pretty big attention span to be able to sit down and like look at a black and white piece of paper and write down answers for 45 minutes. So all of that is incredibly difficult. Remembering things, trying to pick out what's necessary information is really hard. We have a hard time like filtering out different things, so it's like I'd have to learn every single thing because I couldn't gauge what was actually important. But I have a memory, so that didn't work out. And then also in terms of the social aspect, like you said, that's definitely was a struggle for me growing up because I was just kind of, it was before I learned how to mask my symptoms, so it was hard to make friends.
And I mean, also for me, when I was like in school and stuff, I mean, school was ages ago, so I can't remember everything about it.
What, aren't you like 25?
26. I'm practically done. Sometimes with me, I was able to pick things up straight away. Sometimes it just took a little bit more time. And it was actually quite funny how you were talking about accommodations and tests and stuff, because I got that as like when I was at school. That was really there for me to process what I was doing, how to actually answer the questions correctly in a way that is cohesive. It is like what you said, it's kind of catered to a group of people.
Yeah, definitely. Growing up with ADHD, like when I was a kid, I was always in trouble because of my ADHD symptoms. And I feel like a lot of teachers are not educated on ADHD and autism and all sorts of other mental disorders. I realize they have a very hard job as it is, but it's just growing up, always in trouble, always getting bad grades. You know, it's like you just learn that you're bad, and it just like, I learned to hate school because of it.
Blurting stuff out and saying random stuff that doesn't fit into a conversation. Now, I feel this is more in keeping with the ADHD side of things, so I think I'll let you start the conversation off, Hailey, if that's alright.
Yeah, so I do that. I, I blurt stuff out, and this whole conversation has been so hard for me because it would be really hard to edit these videos if I kept blurting stuff out, so I keep like almost saying something and then stopping myself. And some people with ADHD, they cannot stop themselves, like no matter what, they just cannot. Usually that's the hyperactive type of ADHD. I'm the inattentive type, so it's just easier for me, I guess, than some other people in terms of blurting stuff out. But yeah, I don't know, it's just like your mind runs a mile a minute, and so I just want to say exactly what's on my mind, because if I don't, then I'll just forget and that's kind of been a struggle this whole conversation.
Sorry.
No, it's my fault.
Oh, okay. I thought it might have been me. Who knows? But no, from the autism side of things, for me, I'll have a thought in my head. It doesn't matter what the context is, I'll just say it. Like a common example I've said on the channel actually, I was in the car with my fiance, had some friends in the back seat, and went past the fun fair, which I remembered because I took my ex-girlfriend there. And I said to everyone in the car, oh, that's the fun fair that me and my ex-girlfriend went to, and I think we should go there. Like, if something's in my head, I kind of say it, just without thinking about kind of the consequence of what I say could lead to, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the similarity here is like the impulsiveness to say something, and we just say it, but the difference is a lot of times mine has nothing to do with anything, but yours seems to be more relevant.
If I see something and I just remember it from years ago, I just feel the need to say it. It's kind of like that thing that I need to get out of my system, otherwise it's just gonna kind of fester in my mind in a way. But like sometimes it can be helpful and interesting in a conversation, but sometimes it can obviously be not so helpful. So I think that was an absolutely fantastic discussion. Thank you so much to Hailey for coming over. But like I say guys, we did a video over on Hailey's channel, which is right there. Go and click it right now. Or if you're brand new to this channel and you want to see more, there's a playlist that I recommend to you. Or if you're brand new as well, hit the subscribe button, that little icon thing right there. But for now guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button so I know. Stay you, stay indie. Have a great day guys, and I'll see you all next time.